Hey, welcome back. I am Ellie and I talk about all things techie. One of the things I want to talk to you about, and it's a question I get a lot from my clients, is about how to tackle an unruly inbox, how to make it not feel so overwhelming, so freaking frustrating. If the inbox is just for you and you're the only one having to manage it, but also if you have a team all in one inbox, both of those can feel equally challenging and frustrating. So I want to walk you through some options. All right, so here we are in today's inbox, my very own inbox. So some things I want to show you about how to manage an inbox so it doesn't feel super duper overwhelming. The first thing is there's no, well, inbox zero. I used to chase inbox zero. Now I just try to have a handful of important messages and keep it fairly tidy. But if you're trying to chase inbox zero, you're going to spend a lot more time on your inbox than you probably should. Today, I'm going to show you some ways I keep my own inbox feeling tidy and not overwhelming, but also some ways that I do the same for my clients that are a little bit different than I do it for myself, because all of us have different brains, different teams, and I don't believe in a one-size-fits-all approach. So let's start with the basics. The first thing is having some folders. I have folders for my accounting, for accounts that I've signed up for, lots of subfolders for client work and archived client work. I have collaboration projects, fan mail, that's what I call people who reply to my newsletter, learning projects, old projects, so things that, we're not working on anymore, passive income, which I probably could archive, but a lot of this stuff is things that I'm an affiliate for, really. Personal stuff that may not be related to my business whatsoever, and stuff for my team. So creating those folders is super easy. You create a label. So they don't actually call them folders in Gmail, they call them labels. And you can create a label that says anything and categorize for anything you want. And you can even nest them and create sub-labels for anything you want. Categories that I really recommend would be for your accounting, the accounts and subscriptions you've signed up for, clients, contractors, if you are a product-based business, suppliers, those kinds of things, somewhere for your newsletters and things to sign up that you've signed up for to go, and that's all kind of the types of categories that you should be thinking of. Again, there's no one-size-fits-all approach for this, but you really should be thinking about those kinds of things. Maybe appointments that are booked with you. Really break it down in what works for your business and your brain, but you should have some of those broad categories. Okay, so say you have an inbox that isn't quite like this one right here. We probably have 15 emails, but if you have hundreds of emails in your inbox, thousands of emails in your inbox, and you're looking to tidy it up, this is where the search features are really, really useful. So I can go in under search and I can search for anything that is, or I can say anything that's older than a year. I can search for specific types of folders I have. So I'm just going to start over here. So I'm going to search for anything that says, let's say order. And maybe I want it to be older than a year. And it will show me all of those emails. And if I want, I can go ahead and mass select all of them. And then I can reorganize them. I can maybe move them to, say, unread. I can move them to a specific label. I can delete them all. Doing this is really helpful to be able to tidy up quickly. So if you know that you have a bunch of spammy emails from one specific person, you can do that. You can delete them all at once. You can move everything to a folder for a specific type of thing. So maybe it's all of your appointments you're looking to move to a specific folder. You can do that really quickly by selecting them all and adding a label. And moving them all into a folder. So the search feature is really robust. You can also, if I do this, I can go ahead and create a filter. So maybe I want them always to go into a folder before I've even seen them. So I can say appointments, create a filter, skip the inbox, or apply it directly to a specific label. So maybe I want those all to go in client work. And there we go. You could also say you want to immediately archive it, or that you want to delete it immediately. Now, if you're getting something that you want it to delete immediately, you probably should just unsubscribe. It's going to be easier and better for the environment. But you could just delete it. Maybe you're getting somebody that you can't get rid of. You can just delete it. You can categorize it in these categories. I don't really personally use these, but I think they are more useful for people who are using their inbox personally and not professionally. You can also apply this filter to matching conversations, ones that are similar, and it will start learning what those are. You can also set anything to, and this is a really useful one for what we're going to look at here shortly. You could ask it to star any relevant conversation. So I have a filter set up that anything that is an order to my shop immediately gets starred. And that is useful for the multiple inbox setup that I have in my own business. You could also, and this will go because we're headed here next, you can also have it send any emails that you receive a specific template, and it will automatically reply with that. So if I get an email about an appointment, I can have it immediately reply with one of my templated emails. So let's take a look at templated emails, I think, and then we're going to go and talk about multiple inboxes. And these are just some of my quick and dirty tips for this. There's so much you can do in here, but I don't want to overwhelm you. So these are my favorite quick and dirty tips. Let's talk now about templated emails. So if you go to compose an email, and you can see, if I go into this, I can click this little 3 dots and see my templates. I can insert a template, delete any existing templates I have, or update and overwrite any templates I have. But let's say, for example, somebody has been on my podcast recently. I want to send them this email that says, hi, and my templates aren't designed to go automatically, so because I like to put their names. Thank you for joining me over on my YouTube. Here are the links and images if you'd like to share them. So here's the link to the video. Here's a link to the podcast, blog, images. I'll be sharing over on social soon, or maybe I would have said on such and such date. So that's really useful to use. I have quite a lot of these in my business. Some of them now exist and mostly function out of my client relationship management software, Dipsato. But it's really useful to use these when I can. So I have templates for when somebody's done a power hour with me, or when they've left me a testimonial. That was in the wrong place, but it's easy enough to fix. And so if they've left me a review, I like to go ahead and send them a little bit of a gift. And this is one of the ways they do it, especially if they're over in the UK and Ireland. This is the one they tend to get. And so I would unhighlight this, and then I would quickly put in the link to their gift voucher and send it to the right person. I can show you so many more tips, but let's talk a little bit about multiple inboxes. So you can see in here, I have important, starred, and everything else. So orders go in here when they are starred. And like I said, I have that rule or that filter set up so that when I have an order to my online shop for power hours or toolkits, they automatically go here for me and my team to deal with. I have everything else. This is stuff that mostly are newsletters and those kinds of things. So it means that when I'm want to be in deep work mode, I can literally just collapse that. I don't get overwhelmed by all my newsletters and all the fun things that I eventually do want to get around to reading. I love these creators, but I can't always look at them. So I close that, and I can say, okay, these are the actionable things that I need to reply to in the near future. I set up a bit of a culture in my business that I don't reply immediately. It's actually in my contract, the days that I am in the office and how quickly people can respond or expect to hear from me, which is, I believe, 2 business days. Usually I'm much quicker than that. But just, I really want to be clear that I might be researching what we're talking about. It might take me some time to get back to you. I am not going to drop everything and reply all the time. I don't want to be living in my inbox. I have boundaries around my inbox. So it also feels nice that maybe if I'm working in other tabs, but I have this tab open, I am able to just collapse them all and just be like, okay, this doesn't really exist. My email inbox doesn't really exist right now, but I have it open because I'm going to have to refer back to it soon. So further things you can do in multiple inboxes. So you have some quick settings in here for multiple inboxes, even inbox type. If you want important first, unread first, starred first, priority, which is the one I have, or multiple inboxes. If you want to have a reading pane, how much space you want to have in here. So there's compact, default, and comfortable. So there's quite a lot in here. So let's just take a look at what happens with these if I show you the different types of inbox setups you can have. Default is just shows you chronologically what's come in. Important first will show important emails first and everything else. And that's pretty close to what I have. However, I also have that third folder in here for starred. You can have where it just shows unread first. And then so you have unread and everything else. Starred first, which I don't have anything starred, but you have starred and everything else. And then you have priority. This is how I have it set up. And we'll go into the filters and customizations for that here soon, but it's important things. And again, Gmail kind of knows what I consider important most of the time. So if I mark a conversation important once or unimportant once, it starts to learn those things. So it knows who my clients are, what types of emails I want to land in this important. And if it gets it wrong, all I have to do is simply toggle this, untick it or tick it again, and it will make sure that it goes in the right folder area. So if I decided that one of these newsletters was so important that I needed to hear about it all the time, or if I, like this email, it's a collaboration that I've kind of been hawing about what I want to do next with, but I can move that into my inbox, refresh the page, and it just pops up there. And it will know that future replies back and forth between me and that individual will be important enough to put in the top of my inbox. You also can do multiple inboxes, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this. So this is another version of very custom multiple inboxes. So you can see I've tested this a little bit where I have important, drafts, sales and bundles, and these are all ones that I've already filed away, and then everything in my inbox that is unmoved that I haven't filed. And so there's some pros and cons to this. One is that I have clients that feel like this is overwhelming because they can't actually collapse this inbox section and it feels a bit clunky. It will also show a lot of things. So let's go take a look at these settings. In here, let's start with multiple inboxes and then we'll go a little bit further with what you can do. So under multiple inboxes, I can decide you can have 5 sections and you can do so many things with these. But remember that, let's talk about this. You can do so many things, but remember that all of your emails will also always show up at the bottom, any unfiled emails that you have. So you can refine these with is important or is a draft or has a yellow star, and then you can label these however you want. You can do so much more. So for example, you can say you want all emails that are from a specific person or to a specific person in a specific area. So if you have more than one email address or any aliases set up in your inbox, which I can create a whole nother video about, but you can say all emails to that alias get their own section. You can organize them by various types of dates. You can organize them by so you can have more than one category, or words that are kind of related to each other, so secret and birthday and those kinds of things, by specific labels. So those are those folders we've set up. Those same categories that we've talked about that I don't really use about promotional, but if you're using default Gmail settings, they probably are already happening for you. If they have an attachment or if they have a YouTube or a presentation or any of these types of files in them, So there's a lot of different things you can do. But the way that I love to use it is to have these stars. And so you can, if it has a yellow star or an orange star or a purple star or a green star, and you need to go set this up, you have to turn that on. But it means that you can create multiple inboxes based on different stars that you've created. And so everything that has a yellow bang might be something that you want somebody in the team to go and check on. And everything that has a green star might be an accounting thing that needs, and so you can create those folders based on those kinds of things too. And so somebody can quickly just go and star those, and it auto folders everything that it needs to be in those multiple inboxes. So that might feel a little overwhelming. I have a client that I wanted to set this up for, and as you can see in my inbox, it's showing me things that I've already filed and don't really want to see. It's showing me drafts and things like that. So, pro tip, if you're having issues setting up the multiple inboxes, but you really want to do that, you really want to have these various categories, I really recommend checking out AI for this. It's so good. For example, you can say, hey, I want to set up these folders for these types of things. I have these labels set up. It will break that down for you. It's given me all these labels based on subjects or who it's to, different files and labels. And that was really, really helpful for getting those 5 things. And then you can say, well, actually, I'm seeing things that are already filed away. Can you fix that? And it's saying, okay, things that are delivered to and in the inbox, but not in a folder. It really helped me after, it took me a few iterations, but eventually I got these so well fine-tuned by just asking it and just describing what I was seeing and what I wanted to see. And so that is a really hot tip for that. I'll put this link in the show notes. But the last thing I want to show you, kind of where you can see all these things in the backend after you've set them up. So in here, I can see all my labels and how to show or hide them. In here, I can only show if they're unread. I can kind of customize things to my heart's content in here. And so I can tidy things up quite a lot if I don't want to see all of these kind of archived ones. I can do these inbox things, the same ones that you can see in the quick settings. You can show importance markers or not. I like mine there. I can see my accounts, so I have more than one. This is one of those things we talked about, having multiple addresses and aliases coming to one inbox. I can see everybody that I've blocked, which is quite a lot. I've had this email a long time. I have had this business a long time, and I get a lot of spam sometimes. So these are everybody I've ever blocked. The filters I've set up, I used to be on a specific team and occasionally still get email for that, so I just have something to delete it. But also, like I said, starring anything that comes in from my shop. You can see any email forwarding you've set up. So if you want things to go specifically to another person on your team, you can set up filters for that auto forward certain things or auto forward all of your email. There's a lot of add-ons that you can use, third-party tools and all those kinds of things. So those kind of beyond the scope of what we're talking about. But if you kind of are like, oh, what filters do I have set up? You can find them in here. If you want to see, oh, what labels do I have set up? You can tidy them up in here, but you can also do it in here. And you also have all your general inbox settings in here. So I really recommend kind of getting familiar with it. These are those stars I was talking about. So you can turn those off or on. You can customize your signature in here like I have. And we talk about this a lot, but out of office responders in here. I often will recommend to businesses that are really busy and have really busy inboxes to have this on all the time. And that means we just tick off the last day. It just goes on all the time. And that you can put in kind of FAQs and links to things in your website, booking calls, anything that you want people to have quick access to because they're probably emailing you and you're thinking, this might solve their problem before I have to go and reply. This is a really useful autoresponder to have. So those are my quick and dirty tips. And just to summarize, we talked about setting up filters, folders or labels, because that's what they're called here, multiple inboxes, using mass actions in here and filters, and so you can quickly move or delete a lot of content. Templated replies, and also the settings in the backend that you can have. All right. I hope this has solved some of your Gmail inbox frustrations and that you feel equipped and you have a toolkit to advance with a little more ease and a lot cleaner of an inbox. All right, go forth and tidy.